Okay, today we're going to learn transformations part 2. The first example is an absolute value function, and we're going to try and write it as a piecewise function. But first we need to graph it. Okay, well, remember the parent function, f of x equals absolute value of x, starts here at the origin and goes like this. All right, we know this is going to shift it to the right 1 and up 2. So you write 1, up 2. And then we have to draw the lines. The easiest thing to do is plug in some points. I'm going to plug in 3. So I plug in 3, you get 2 times the absolute value of 3 minus 1 plus 2. So that's 2, 4. That equals 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's symmetrical, so if I I went 2 that way, 2 that way, it should be here, and my graph goes up like that. Oh, that's not a very good graph. Okay, now, if I want to write this as a piecewise function, I can pretend this is one line, and I can pretend this is another line, and I can write 2 separate equations. So I go over here and say f of x equals, and then you make your bracket. The vertex is at 1, so you know x has to be less than 1, and x is going to be greater than 1 for those lines. We have to include 1 in one of the lines. It doesn't matter which one, so I'm going to pick the top one just to make my life easier. Okay, so now when x is back here, it's negative. It's less than 1. It's this line. So what is the slope of that line? Well, I go up 2 over 1. It's a negative 2x. The intercept is 4. I read that right off the graph. This one I go up 1 over 2. That's the slope of my line is positive 2. Where's it going to go? Down 2 over 1. It goes through 0, so I'm done. Okay? That was my slope. Positive and it's negative. Alrighty? Next, they give you a graph and they want you to find the parent function, and then write the equation. Alright, so my parent function, f of x, in this case, is rational. I know that because the parent function looks like this. Right? So it went from 0, 0. Well, looks like the asymptote on this is here, and it looks like the asymptote horizontal goes this way. So that point moved over 1 and down 1, 2, 3. All right, so my new function with its transformations, I know it went over 1, so that's x plus 1, and it went down 3. And I don't know if it's been stretched or not, so I'm going to put my a in here. So it's a times that. And I'm going to plug these points in and see if I can calculate a. So if I plug in negative 4 for y, this is a over x, which is 1 plus 1, minus 3. Add 3 to that, and you get negative 1 equals a over 2. Multiply both sides by 2, and you get a is equal to negative 2. I go back and plug that into my equation, and I got g of x equals negative 2 over x plus 1 minus 3. The negative means it flipped over the x-axis, and sure enough, that this branch flipped over to the bottom side. So I agree with that. All right? Next, it's an absolute value function. Let's change color so it's easy to follow. The parent function, f of x equals the absolute value of x. It usually starts here and goes like this. This moved over 3 and down 5. I read that right there. Mind you, I've done this before and I figured that out. So my new function with the transformations, there's an a in front of it. We have x plus 3, because that moves it to the left 3, and down 5. So I'm going to plug in one of these points again to find a. So negative 4 equals a, absolute value, negative 1 plus 3 minus 5. Well, negative 1 plus 3 is 2, So I got 2a minus 5 equals negative 4. Add 5 and you get 1 equals 2a. So a is equal to 1/2, which makes sense. It's less than 1. It looks like it got squished. So my new function, g of x, equals 1/2 absolute value, x plus 3 minus 5. This was the one there. All right, we have one more example. And this one I plugged in the wrong numbers. I struggled with it, and it's not as hard as you think it is. Let's see, what color should we do this time? Blue. All right, parent function, f of x equals, it's a parabola, x squared. Well, we know this one's flipped over, so we're going to have a negative a in there somewhere. But let's start with the vertex. Normally, a parabola goes this way. So this moved over 5 and up 2. So you got x plus 5. No, minus 5, sorry. Fix that. X minus 5 squared plus 2. And there's an a in front of it. And that's my function with the transformation. Pick a point and plug it in. I plug in negative 1 equals a. 6 minus 5 squared plus 1. Negative 1 equals 6 minus 5 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So you get a plus 2. Subtract 2. And you end up with negative 3 equals a. Well, negative makes sense because it's upside down. And I said, well, wait a minute. Let's try this point and see if it's correct. So you plug in 10. It's a negative 10. I forgot the negative last time I did this. Got the wrong answer. 7 minus 5 squared plus 2. So you got negative 10 equals 7 minus 5 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Now subtract 2 and you get negative 12. Divide by 4 and you get negative 3 equals a. Hey, they're both the same. It's always good to check. So what's my final equation? G of x equals negative 3, x minus 5 squared plus 2. Easy peasy. Well, maybe not so easy peasy. But if you have any questions, be sure to ask. Thanks. Bye-bye.